Remembering Diego Maradona, Argentina's most famous soccer player. Hi there, welcome back to another plain English lesson. This time it's number 321, so you can see the full lesson online at plainenglish.com/321. JR, the producer, posted it up there like always, all 5 parts. There are 5 parts to each lesson, and JR puts them all up there at about 6 a.m. local time every Monday and Thursday for 3 years now. That's dedication. Coming up today, Diego Maradona, a soccer player who scored one of the most famous goals in World Cup history, has died. Like Monday's lesson about Beethoven, this will be about an outsized figure that had his ups and downs in life. The phrasal verb is catch up with, and if you think you know what that means, keep listening, because the way I describe it might be different from the way you've heard it before. If you ask an Argentine of a certain age who is the best soccer player in history, the answer is likely to be Diego Maradona, the superstar who died on November 25th this year, scored 2 of the most famous goals in World Cup history. He starred in European football leagues, and he coached internationally after his retirement as a player. In his club career, he scored 259 goals in just 491 matches, more than 1 goal for every 2 games, a remarkable achievement in a low-scoring sport. Maradona received his first soccer ball as a gift when he was just 3 years old, and he quickly became devoted to the game that would make him a global icon. When he was just 8 years old, he was spotted by a talent scout while playing soccer in his neighborhood club. 10 days before his 16th birthday, Maradona made his professional debut for the Argentinos Juniors in Buenos Aires, becoming the youngest person in the club's history. He spent 5 years playing for the Argentinos Juniors before transferring to Buenos Aires' most famous, Boca Juniors. Maradona found success at his childhood favorite team, winning the league title during his first season with the Boca Juniors. In professional soccer, club teams can trade or transfer players, and the acquiring team usually pays a fee for the privilege. New clubs are willing to pay a premium to acquire the best players. After just a few years with the Boca Juniors, Barcelona paid a then world record €5 million transfer fee. Just a few years later, Napoli in Naples, Italy, would acquire Maradona, breaking the transfer fee record again. It was a good investment. Maradona reached the peak of his professional career while playing for Napoli in the 1980s. As team captain, Maradona elevated the team to the most successful era in its history. He led the team to its first league title in 1987. In soccer, players have professional contracts in national or regional leagues, but they also play for their home country's national teams in international tournaments like the World Cup. In this way, the world's best players can make their fortunes in the most competitive leagues while still engendering pride in their home country's fans. Maradona's career with the Argentine national team involved several World Cup appearances. His first World Cup was in 1982, but his most memorable performance came in 1986 in Mexico City. It was there that he scored two of the most memorable goals in World Cup history, both goals in his team's 2-1 quarterfinal victory over England. He scored the first goal with his hand, an illegal play that escaped the referee's notice in the days before video replay. That goal is now remembered in Argentina as the Hand of God goal, though they might remember it differently in England. His next goal was legal, but no less astounding. He got the ball in his own half of the field, dribbled past 5 England defenders, reached the opposite end, fooled the opposing goaltender, and scored his team's winning goal. It was later voted by FIFA as the best goal in World Cup history. His glittering career, though, was marked with controversy off the field. Shortly after he arrived in Naples, he fell into alcoholism and drug addiction, even as he was dominating on the field. Maradona began to use cocaine and miss games and practices, being fined for each absence. Maradona himself admitted that every week he would binge on drugs and alcohol from Sunday until Wednesday. On Thursday, he would start an intense detox to clear his system and be prepared for the weekend's match. In 1991, his lifestyle caught up with him. He tested positive for cocaine and was banned from soccer for 15 months. Later that year, he was charged with drug trafficking. He returned, but that would not be his last brush with drug-related controversy. Maradona failed a drug test during the 1994 World Cup and was removed from the tournament. He was banned for another 15 months. It would be his last game in international play, and Argentina lost to Romania in an early round without him. In 2008, he found his way back to soccer as the coach of the Argentine national team, which he led to the quarterfinals of the 2010 World Cup. Unable to agree to a contract extension with his own country's national team, he went on to coach in the United Arab Emirates, Belarus, and Mexico before retiring for good. Maradona's personal life was also plagued with conflict, paternity controversies, estrangement from his family, allegations of domestic violence. Fed up with intrusive journalists, he once shot at them with an air rifle. And so his death, too, has been controversial. Weeks before he died, Maradona was admitted to a hospital for psychological reasons. The next day, he had emergency brain surgery to alleviate bleeding in his brain. He was released from the hospital, but died suddenly on November 25th at his home after having refused additional treatment for alcoholism. Argentine authorities raided the homes of his doctor and psychiatrist investigating Maradona's death at the request of his family. His surgeon, through tears at a news conference, said he loved Maradona, but that the soccer star was an unmanageable patient. Argentine President Alberto Fernandez declared 3 days of mourning to honor the soccer legend. Maradona's body lay in state in the Casa Rosada. His coffin was draped in Argentina's national flag and 3 number 10 jerseys. What a life. I opened the lesson by saying, if you ask an Argentine of a certain age, but in truth, soccer fans around the world might give the same answer, especially in Naples and even in arch-rival Brazil. We have a lot of listeners in Argentina, so if you'd like to share any news from your perspective, please do so in our free Facebook group just for listeners of Plain English. You can always access that at plainenglish.com/Facebook. Today's expression is to catch up with a person. There are several ways of using this phrasal verb, but I'm going to explain just one of those ways today. The way I used it in today's lesson is not the most common way of using it, but it's worth knowing. I said that Diego Maradona's alcohol and drug-fueled lifestyle caught up with him when he tested positive for cocaine and was banned from soccer for 15 months. In this sense, a bad habit catches up with you when you start to feel its consequences. It is possible for some people to perform at a high level in sports, even as they use, sometimes heavily use, drugs and alcohol. There are examples in almost every sport: soccer, baseball, basketball, football, tennis. Sometimes players can get away with drug or alcohol use and never face negative consequences on the field. Other times, though, the players start to feel the consequences of their actions. They might fail a drug test like Maradona did, or their bodies might start to break down, or they might have to go into rehab. In Maradona's case, he was doing just fine taking drugs and alcohol every week. He'd just quit by Thursday and detox and be ready for the game on the weekend. It was a risky lifestyle that finally caught up with him. He finally faced the consequences of his risky lifestyle when he failed a drug test and was banned from the game. Another bad habit, as we documented a few months ago, is lack of sleep. Sometimes, if I don't sleep well for several nights in a row, I just can't concentrate during the day. And then, one day, I'll be so exhausted, I'll go to bed at 8 or 9 at night and sleep clear until 8 or 9 the next morning. In that case, I'd say the lack of sleep finally caught up with me. I'm finally starting to pay for my bad habit. I'm paying when I don't feel well during the day, and I'm paying when I have to sleep extra hours to recover. Some people have stressful jobs. Some people can manage a stressful job. They even like it. But sometimes all the stress at work can catch up with you. It catches up with you when you start to feel negative consequences. Your health fails. You put on weight. Your personal relationships suffer. You start smoking. You develop a drinking problem or drug habit, whatever. Maybe for you, it's just feeling burnt out and not being able to continue. It could be negative psychological consequences. Certainly, that won't happen to everyone with a high-stress job, but some people will start to feel the consequences. If that happens, you can say, all that stress is catching up with me, or his stressful lifestyle is finally catching up with him. Sadly, many people who smoked for years develop lung cancer. For them, the years of smoking finally catch up with them. They finally feel the consequences. JR's song of the week is With or Without You by U2, one of my favorite songs from the late 1980s off the album called The Joshua Tree. Famous photograph on the cover of that album. A Joshua tree is a species of tree. It's kind of a scraggly looking tree, like a cross between a normal tree and a cactus. There's a national park in the Mojave Desert in California called Joshua Tree National Park, where the photos in the album artwork were shot. The famous line in the song is, "I can't live with or without you." The song of the week is With or Without You by the Irish rock band U2, and you too can play the song of the week right from your dashboard if you're a member at any level, including the free level on our website, plainenglish.com. And that brings us to the end of today's audio lesson. Remember, the full lesson is available online at plainenglish.com/321. The video lesson today is all about how to talk about something that is no longer true. That's what the videos are all about. They're usually about 10 to 20 minutes long, and I walk you through step by step how to express an idea in English. Today's video is all about describing something that was true in the past but is not true today. So if you're a Plus member, you'll enjoy that. If not, you can sign up yourself at plainenglish.com/plus. And that is all today. Congratulations on finishing another lesson. And remember, we'll be right back here on Monday.